From here, looking eastward, you can see Mountain Agu from Togo. The mountain is about 2,700 feet above sea level.
Okay. Is there any belief that if you touch the cross, there's any blessing or anything like that?
Well, that has to do with your
personal.
Okay. Yes.
Just when I thought I was almost there, I missed a step. And I was so unlucky, the cameras captured this.
Now we want to do the gentle one.
She didn't get me for this, she only got me standing now. What a mistake.
Join Wonder Ami Hagan this Tuesday, February 14, 2023, as she brings you experience climbing Mount Gami in the Volta region.
So we get a new coach, Chris Hughton. Yes, Nana Babendro. Chris Hughton is here. Now he's the Black Stars coach. Sam George is now being hailed as Fabrizio Romano. Here we go. Yes, he say we carry the job give him GGFA Tuesday in the line. Now official announcement is Chris Hughton. First, Ebefana.
Charlie, Black Stars. I think it's an appointment that the FA had basically no option than to make because of the pressures that were coming from one, the government, and to the public. So it's more like they bow to the pressures of both the public and the FA and government, because we all know that Chris Hughton was the first choice of the government to replace Milovan Rivers, but the FA opted for Chris Otuado. And once Otuado took us, qualified us to the World Cup, President Akufo-Addo vouched for him to continue. Then after the World Cup, there was a vacuum that needed to be filled. A lot of us are surprised that it took that long. I mean, 72 days for a decision to be made, but Nana be drinking, you know. You ever heard of it?
Yeah, go. I'm just praying. So, Chris Hughton is here. Let us hear from you in the comment section. Now, Perez, quick one. His first test will be in March for the AFCON qualifiers. Yeah. What should Ghanaians expect from Chris Hughton?
I think the thing is that we are still here to, the FA still have some information to give with regards to the duration of the contract, how much he'll be taking, and all those issues that I'm sure in due time when he's unveiled as the Black Stars coach, he will be, those informations will be divulged. I won't have the platform, the opportunity to ask him the kind of football that he's going to say. We've all watched him in the Premier League. And we all know that he's more like your typical English or British coach. He directs straight from the fullback to the wings, the cross. There is that bulky or that striker in the box, the fox in the box kind of there, and the Carroll, your typical British striker in the box who latches onto this squad. So he's your typical British coach, but I look at the kind of players we have and ask myself, are our players tailored for that kind of football? And that's why some of us had our doubts with regard to the appointment of Chris Hughton. But Ghanaians are happy because they feel that he's a top coach. He's a top coach, and he's that one person that they feel the FA will not be able to influence or manipulate when it comes to selections. That is one of the things that you have to say. I think how he navigates the influence of the FA and the perception of the public will be a big determinant. Will determine how his career as Black Stars coach will go. But with regards to his first match as Black Stars coach, and that's why some of us have issues with why he delayed, because he needed time to be able to imprint, to be able to implement whatever information he has. But now he has barely less than a month to be able to do all those things. So we are not expecting much changes. all we need from him in that particular game, call the players that we think deserve to be in the team, and then make sure they play well. Menko Frere, John players Biana Charlie. If he does that, any
yeah, but I think that for me, in as much as I seem to be a tinko type, sometimes I feel like the kind of technical players we have in the Black Stars, probably when he was at Newcastle, Brighton, you know, when you are at this club, you don't have the budget.
That argument holds because, and it's valid because in most of those clubs, you are basically playing to survive. And you can't play beautiful football if you are on a strict budget or if the quality of your players. To say Benmi money, Shawcross money, and those guys tell them route one when you're beam nation, you know, when you're born or beam, then you do like Sean Dyke did, I guess. So I agree, but for us, the Black Stars, we have good technically gifted players: Kudus, Kamadin, Partey, Tariq Lamptey,
even our center,
even Baba myself is a technically gifted player. So Charlie, I think the players we have will force him to play, and he's a coach who has shown that when they need be, he can adapt to suit the situation. I think that's what he will bring to the. He brings experience because he has that here over more than 30 years in coaching. He brings familiarity because he's been with the team for long. He brings some form of stability. I feel that he's someone who has tasted a lot of club football, and this presents an opportunity for him to sit down and say, let me sit here, organize Ghana football from the top, then make sure everything goes well. If he does that, it enhances his legacy and reputation because he's going to be that guy who everyone will say, oh, it's Ghana for no, and I'm sure he will want to be recognized as such. So it's a good move for the FA. I have my doubt, primarily because of the football. I believe that beautiful football is the way to. I believe that the entertainment element of football should not be felt at only the winning stage. It should be felt at how we win the games. And so it's a good call. Let's see how it goes.
All right, so let's see how it goes. Let me remind you that next month, which is March, the Black Stars will be in action for the 2023 AFCON qualifiers. Don't forget that we've already played 2 games. We played one here in Cape Coast and then against Central Africa Republic. So our 2 games, which is a double header against Angola. For me, I think that how I would judge Chris Hughton will be his first call-up. Because Sigi Akona said that there are times that certain players, like you see certain players in the list of the call-up, and he didn't invite those players.
So there are reports that one of the sticking points that actually caused the delay was that Chris was trying to input some clauses. Those are reports in there that he will have the 100% right, 100% responsibility of deciding who makes the team, who doesn't.
Which the GFA president has already stated that.
You see, the thing is you see, the thing with what Kurt said is that I don't think it's wrong. It's how they do it. If you're a coach of a national team, you don't want to have issues with the FA boss over selections. And the FA boss, because the back stops with him basically. You can walk up now and who will the bash? It be Kurt. So ultimately, he would want to have some say, okay, why didn't I offer any? Why didn't I offer away? Why didn't I?
So defend.
But for this particular GFA administration, there is the perception, and it has been given some credibility by Sika Hakono that they indeed influence selections. It's one of the things that Chris Hughton will have to navigate, and it's going to be, for me, his biggest challenge. His first call-up will decide whether Ghanaians will support him or not. Because some players here.
And you see, now the thing that I think that it doesn't help the FA is that because of investment, so we watch every league in the world, even in Saskatchewan, like people they watch. So it's like we know every Ghanaian player who is performing. And then, Press, my last question is: in all this, where is the technical director? Because it's like he should be at the center of everything. But we went to the World Cup. Nobody heard about Bernard Lepe. We were looking for a new coach. You don't hear the technical director spearheading this. You know this. Where is he? Is this?
But the thing with the how we manage football in the country is it's you have to be very careful when you are discussing it because we don't know. Unlike previous instances where the FA will put out names of a party that which are going to search for their team. In this instance, we were not informed on whether there was a committee being led by Bernard Lepe, so we actually don't know the role he played. But Oba and Charlie, the guy don't do anything.
It's like,
but I mean, what would be his role basically if you want to appoint? Hughton, the thing, Hughton has been with the team for long. Yeah. He knows the team already. I think the reason why I delayed was that there were a lot of T's that had to be crossed, a lot of I's that had to be dotted, and that's what caused it. Because from what we heard, as far back as December, there was some form of resolution among the executive council members that he was going to be the one. But there were a number of issues, and these things are normal because Ghana, the way politics in the course, you know, so they had to sort out all these issues. But Sisi Ogetu, Bernard Lepet, I don't know.
Yeah, MFA.
What's it?
MFA.
I mean, as a Ghanaian, you would want to hope that he does. So I think we are at a stage where we need a coach who will be bold enough to call the right players and fill the right players, and when the need be, can pull off some good tactics. Because I say this, that this team can win the AFCON, you know. But the biggest challenge for him, I think, was one, deal with the Didayu situation and Thomas Partey.
Yeah. See, as for me, there, I've already said my thing about Partey. We said that number 6, he wasn't favoring and all that. But now we brought someone who is playing the DM. If you come and misbehave here, you will see. Alright, so that's how we end our podcast on the appointment of Chris Hughton as the Black Stars coach. Me, I have only one fear. In 2019, AFCON, we were eliminated round of 16. In 2022, 2021 AFCON, we couldn't qualify out of the group. So all things being equal, I'm praying we are able to qualify to Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast, the Chris Hughton, will it work or not? Let me hear from you in the comment section.
Mommy, you first can see my cotoso. Me boga, send me sick from Lemonade Finance. While Brian did the shit and let me £10.
Lemonade Finance.
Say they sending money back home from UK, Canada, and now US. I accepted a instant charges. Exchange waiting in so unbeatable. We should me promo code Dr. Like £10, $10 and $10 Canadian for the first transaction. With this send this guy download to Lemonade Finance.
Hundreds of people lost their jobs between 2017 and 2020 due to the banking sector cleanup. Today on GhanaWeb Special, we'll be speaking to one of the affected persons on how she's been coping since she lost her job. I am Nima to Yakubu Atoyese. We'll be right back with our guest. Welcome back from that short break. I have with me Jemima Mensah. Jemima Mensah, thanks for coming. And
thank you.
How have you been coping since you lost your job in 2017?
Thank you very much. My warm greetings to your watching viewers, your listeners and everybody. I want to say a big thank you to I want to say a big thank you to you for this great opportunity. It hasn't been easy, my dear. It hasn't been easy. For the past 4 years, I've been home without a job, and the challenges are way more than words could explain for me, because for working for 13 years in the banking sector, and all of a sudden you come home with nothing, with kids, and life must go on. How do I pick the pieces? It hasn't been easy, but the challenges are so much that I don't know where to start and where to end.
Let me help you out. So, when did you lose your job? Was it after the cleanup? Did they give you a part-time job for you to work and later say, oh, you should move? How did it start?
Okay, so the whole thing started 2017, 14th August, when our license, I used to work for Capital Bank, so our licenses were revoked. And from then, we were working for GCB as they have taken over our company, so we were working for them. We worked for them for almost 8 months, if I'm not exaggerating, from 2017, August 14 to when they gave us appointment letter on February 4th, 2018. So we worked for them, and then along the line we were employed to GCB 2018. I was transferred to KN Circle GCB. So I worked with them for roughly 9 months. After that, I was never confirmed. So it means after 6 months, my confirmation was extended to another 3 months. And then nothing happened. I went to work one day and I was told to go home with a letter that they don't need my services anymore.
What was their reason?
There was no reason. On the termination letter, there wasn't any reason that you've done this, or they just that our services are no longer needed. But from the background, what I heard was that if you don't have SS, 3 credits, as in English, Maths and Science, you are out. And some of us, we don't even have the SS. We did matured entrance, so we went first, because it's like that is their policy. If you don't have it, even if you are a graduate, a master's degree or whatever, and you don't have the English, Science and Maths, the 3 credits, as in C, and you have 1 D, you are out. It doesn't matter how your higher level of education is.
But what was your role at the bank precisely?
I was a teller.
Okay.
I was a teller. So I went home. By then I was in school. I was in school, Pentecost University. I went home. I was in my 2nd year. So the news was, I can remember that day as if it was today, how I felt. Because how do I feed my kids, the family? How am I going to break the news to my family and all that? But we came home, we fought to get a better job or something, but nothing good was coming up.
So you applied at various.
Did
you also try banking sector?
Banking sector. Actually, I was so desperate that any job would do, provided I'll get something to take care of my family, as in my kids.
When the opportunity didn't come, what else did you try aside the banking sector?
Okay, so I tried cooking. I registered my catering company, and with the help of friends and families, I have a strong support team. Thank you guys. I know I can't mention the names. I know you are all watching, and I'm so grateful for your support and everything. It took me 2 years to build that catering services and registered the company. I wasn't working, so you asked how do I pay my fees and how do I finance the catering services. Today my husband will know what I was doing when he goes to work, because I felt that if I tell him that I'm going to clean somebody's house to support the house, he wouldn't encourage me to do that.
So whilst you were in school and you wanted to try the business, food business or the catering service, you started doing domestic work for others?
Yes, because the catering services needs time. It took me 2 years to do that. So where will I get the funding to build that my business? So I have to go from house to house. When my husband goes to work, I scarf my hair and then walk around. Do you want to wash? Do you want to clean your house? Then I go to my area where we have corporate ladies or corporate people that are very busy. Then I'll go to their houses and ask, and I'll do the laundry. Sometimes 100 cedis, sometimes 150. Sometimes you get 50 cedis for the cleaning and all that. So I did it for a while without my husband knowing, because I'll take my kids to school and then I'll come and do it.
And he has left for...
He has left. So in the evening, by the time you come,
you are done.
I'm home. Everything is okay. Because how much does he earn for him to give
The
enough?
family.
There are other responsibilities, kids' fees, rent, and chop money. So, I mean, you can't sit down and fold your arms and say that you are just sitting there doing nothing.
Until today, he never knew you went out to do...
No, he never knew.
So what happens after, when you started the catering services? I remember you said you had to close it down due to a difficult challenge you faced. Can you share that with us?
Yes, please. I started, and as a new beginner, you know you have challenges, but it was picking up. It was picking up, and then I met this elderly woman who came as a mother. She appeared to be like a sweet woman who always supports me. So in terms of prayers, in terms of encouragement and advice. So one day she came and she was like, oh, can you guarantee a loan for me? And I didn't think twice. I didn't look back, because...
How much was the loan?
15,000.
Okay. But did you know her family? You just knew her because she assisted you?
Yes, she lived close to where I have my business. Okay. So she normally comes, buy some of the food, help me in my chores and all that, because I didn't have money to employ somebody to help me. Yeah. So I was doing everything myself. So I did it. I guaranteed the loan
of 15,000 for her.
So after that, when the first payment, as in reinstallment, came, she was nowhere to be found. And this woman is gone.
When you say she's gone, as in
we can't find her.
After you guaranteed the loan for her?
Yes, we can't find her.
So how did you know she's gone? Did the bank call you?
Yes, the bank called me, and I was like, oh, you haven't, she haven't brought the money, she haven't paid. I was like, oh, I spoke to her yesterday, she will pay. They said time is up, so we are calling you. I went to her house and I was told she's traveled, and I was like, why won't you leave the money if you are traveling? Yeah. You know you are supposed to pay a loan. So her phone is off, and up till now, I don't know where she is.
So it means you are paying the loan?
I'm paying. I've paid, and the challenges were way too much. How do I pay? How do I pay 850 every month?
When you don't even have a job?
I don't even have a job. And what I've started is like, it can't fetch me that much a month. So do I use the chop money my husband gives me to pay the loan?
Or you forfeit your catering?
So I don't know what to do. I was so worried and disturbed, confused. So the only option that came was for me to sell the container.
There's business you established, you had to sell
everything and then pay at least some of the loan, and then I'll be relaxed to see what I can do to finish the other one.
Have you heard from her?
No, please.
You've never heard from her?
I've never heard. I've never heard.
And that was when?
That was it last 2 years or last year, July? Oh. It's been a year and some months.
Are you done paying the loan?
No, I'll be done by December.
From that, it means that you started a business, and just when the business was building up, you had to stop it because somebody had taken your loan, and you guaranteed and has failed to pay.
Yes,
so you had to give up your business.
Yes, please.
After that, what happened next to you?
So after that, by then I was still in school. So those that's domestic jobs and other things, I was still doing it because then I've come to nothing. And thanks to my colleagues, my family, I was able to graduate with 2nd class.
Welcome from that break, and this is GhanaWeb Special. We've been speaking to Jemima Mensah, who has been sharing her life experience after losing her job due to the banking cleanup exercise. So she's now an Uber driver, and we want to ask her how it all began. Jemima, how did it start for you becoming an Uber driver? Was it a difficult decision for you to take, and how have you been coping in the male world?
Thank you. Actually, taking the decision was not too difficult because you see the motivation here is that I have to feed my family, especially my kids, and at least provide for my dad too. So when you look around, based on that, that was the strength. That was what encouraged me to do that. When I took the decision 2 months ago, the main focus was to to meet the daily economic needs. And then maybe, perhaps, God will permit my helper to sit in my car one day and get me the job that I've been looking for. But when I'm at home, who will notice me? Nobody. So these are the 2 main reasons why it wasn't so difficult to take that decision to drive to be an online driver or Uber driver. I started 2 months ago. I used to drive Hyundai Accent 2012 model, but the fuel consumption was too much. So I tried it for a month and I realized that, okay, it won't work. So I traded that one off and bought this smaller car. It's not bad. It's not bad because at least by close of day, you get something small to buy food for your family, which when you are home, nobody will give it to you. The challenge...
I want to ask, before we get to how you've been coping with the male-dominated field where they drive Uber, did you suffer any emotional breakdown? Did you go through depression at these trying moments before you took this decision?
So many times, countless times. Imagine you have nothing to eat and you are owing. What you are owing is not what you have spent, but you let somebody loan. So countless times that I've thought of committing suicide. But I wanted to kill myself and my kids because I couldn't think about the fact that I will leave my kids for them to suffer.
They will suffer, they have their dad. You didn't trust their father enough to take care of them.
Oh, no, mother's love, and the child will come, Mom, I want this, and whatever he needs, you go the extra mile to get it. I'm not saying their father won't do that, but a mother's love. And
what was your strength that prevented you from doing this?
My kids.
You didn't want to die or just
I actually didn't want to leave them. Because if I commit suicide and I kill them, okay, maybe they are going to be big people, important people. I don't know their destiny. So then if you want to hurt yourself, why do you want to involve them? And I don't want to also hurt myself and leave them to see them suffer. So that was it. Thank God I didn't do it. here I am now on this big platform because I took the initiative to drive boats or online driving. If I had not, nobody would notice me.
By your married life, I'm talking about this because of the issue of depression. How was your marriage? Did this affect your marriage in any way?
Oh yes, you know, love doesn't go without money. So if the issue is if one person is the only source of income support, definitely the person might not say it because he knows the situation, but you could sense it. A little bit tension and here and there. So it affected every aspect of my life, every aspect. My marital, my family life, my social life, as in friends. Because the moment you pick a call, hey, obesreska, obebusame, and it's better to ask than to die. So there are times that you can't help it, you see. So it affected the whole aspect of life. But I realized that the only way to change that situation is to do something. Yes. And that something was, I don't have money, I have my car, I can drive. So why not try it? But my slogan that I formed for myself before I started this was, it's better to die a hero than to die a failure. This is very risky. People are being beaten, their cars are being snatched away. But if you go and nothing happens to you, you come home with food. So that was what motivated me. It's also part of the reasons why.
So far, how is it doing? I know you have major challenge with your Uber business, but how is it? How are you coping with it so far?
It's not bad. As I said, it's better than nothing. Okay, the prices and fuel and other things are not meeting the real time life reality, but it's better than none. This is a great opportunity to. I met you because you requested a boat, and wow, you were impressed. There have been a couple of riders who have been enthused and happy about my me being a boat driver, and sometimes I get monies that I don't deserve because I'm happy, encouragement, words of encouragement. And it's exciting. It's exciting. It's better. It has encouraged me because at a point you'll be in the house crying, and there's nothing coming up. But now when I go out, I meet a lot of people, 90% good ones. I have experienced one bad person, but hey,
it's part of life.
It's part of life. So I'm happy. I'm happy for now.
So Jemima is a boat rider and not an Uber driver. I'm making that correction. And she says what inspired her is that it is better to die a hero than to die empty. A failure. And that has been her motivation. Before we sign off, we want to let her share her worst experience as a boat rider. Can you share that with us? Because it looks like in every good thing there is one bad incident.
Yeah. Yes. I remember one early morning, I had the request and I went. A well-dressed gentleman came and boarded the ride. I took him to his first destination and then he said, "Oh, wait for me. I will do some few rounds with you." For 4 hours, we moved around town, and then we went to a bank. I don't want to mention the bank's name, but we went to a bank. Said, "Oh, let me withdraw some money and pay you," and that was it.
He never returned.
He never returned. He took the money away, and from 8 a.m. to 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I wasted fuel. I wasted time. And the guy was gone.
Oh, that is a very sad note.
But
it didn't discourage you? Did it discourage you?
I was broken. I was seriously broken. And then I called my husband. And was like, you don't do your short trips. You are behaving as if you are a man. This job is risky. What if he has done something wrong to you? Yeah. So it's also another experience that showed me that, okay, so if you go,
These are some of the challenges.
We will give you money. If you are spending 4 hours, you give me the money and then we will go. Yes. So.
It's been a sad event. I've been speaking to Jemima Mensah, a boat driver with a human resource degree who wants to join the corporate world again. I hope someone watching this is willing to help her fulfill this dream. Contact us at GhanaWeb and we'll link you to her. I am Nimatu Yakubu Atoyese and thanks for watching.
See as far as the Volta Lake.
Which is what you are seeing there?
This is just an arm of it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but the rest is further behind.
I see. Hi there, welcome back. Remember we promised to bring you the details of our adventures here at Amejofe in the Volta region. Well, we begin today and we are beginning with a tour or a climb up the Mount Gami. So come along with us. My name is Wandami Higan and this is People and Places. How are you today?
I'm fine today. I'm very well. And you?
I'm fine.
I'm glad you are back again.
Yes, we are glad to be back. We just know we are going to be tired in the process. But it will still be fun. Are you sure? I'm sure it's because you're used to it.
Well, I'm used to it, but I still have to encourage you.
Okay.
Yes.
So we are doing this with our very able tour guide. His name is Daniel Agbesi. He has been here for a while. For how long?
6 years, I should say.
So you see, more experience. He's going to be taking us up the mountain and then he would take us through the history of the place as well. So let's do this. Over to you.
Thank you. You are welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. I would, as I said earlier on, that it is very easy climbing up. You know, the community is already on a mountain before this, and that makes it more easier. Your car has brought you very far from the base, as from the next community before you climb up here. And that is why it is easy climbing up.
Okay.
Yeah. And then at a point 2, if you don't want to use the steeper route, you can use the more gentle one, so you don't get tired quickly.
So there's a steeper route and there's a gentle one.
Yes.
So which one are we using now?
Well, looking at you, you are energetic, and then I'm sure you've eaten something this morning already.
It's a steeper route.
So I think we can go with the steeper one.
Oh my.
You can do it.
Let's give it a try.
You can do it.
Let's see how far we can go.
Okay. It's very interesting, but if you are tired, we still can take a rest.
Okay.
We are not rushing. You don't have to go too fast. I'm sure you have some water on you.
Yes, we do.
All right. Are you tired?
Well, not yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's still a long way to go, so.
As I said earlier on, you still can take a rest if you are tired.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
We don't have to be in rush.
So can you just let our audience know what to, for instance, where, if you are coming for a climb up the mountain?
Again?
What should people wear? What is the right kit? If you are preparing to come for a climb, maybe you should wear sneakers. You can't come in sandals.
Yes, the required thing is to be in sneakers.
Okay.
You can't come in sandals except you are used to the place.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
For me, I can be in flip-flops and climb up the mountain.
Because you are used to it?
I am used to it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And do they necessarily have to have water on them?
Of course, you have to come with water, and that is the very first thing we advise you to do.
Okay. All right. So as we move, we'll have more discussions. But do we know who found out about this mountain? Because I'm sure there are other mountains around, right?
Yes, there are.
So why is this specific one a tourist site now?
Well, I would say this mountain actually became known at the time of the Germans' arrival in this community.
Okay.
It's because they were missionaries and because of their church works. And that is why we even see the cross on the mountain. So with them, it becomes more popular.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it means before their arrival, the inhabitants of Amejofe were using this place?
They weren't really using it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
They weren't using it.
So it was the Germans that made it popular?
Popular.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, how many minutes do we have to get to
I think from the base of the mountain up to the peak, we should be doing 20 minutes, more or less.
Okay.
But if you are tired, as I said earlier, we can take a rest at a point which may take us about 10 minutes.
So are we...
From there, we can do the rest of the 10 minutes.
Are we halfway yet?
We are halfway.
We are halfway.
From here, you can also see the cross.
Okay.
And that is our target.
Right. So it took us like how many minutes from the base to?
I would say 10 minutes, I should
10
say.
minutes.
Yes.
Right. So we have 10 minutes from the base to the middle of the mountain. Now we are just going to be climbing up till we get to the peak, and then we'll continue our discussions. Come along with us. Let's do this. Halfway through the journey, and I was so out of breath. I mean, you could hear that from the way I was speaking earlier. I could barely catch my breath. And our videographers did an amazing job. Just imagine pacing up the mountain, you know, running just to get good shots to make the video perfect for you. This is my director, Dr. Sankuma. She was our motivation at the beginning of this climb. But like they say, Obia or the master. Have you ever had anyone faint in the process of climbing?
No, not at all.
Not yet.
Not at all.
I see.
We sometimes also advise those that may have ailments, problems, like example like hypertension or asthmatic patients.
Okay.
With them, sometimes they would be able to get to the peak, but will have to take much time.
Oh, so it will take a longer time.
Take a longer time.
I see.
Because of their conditions.
Their health condition.
Yes.
Oh my.
We have a nice view today.
It is. It's not very foggy today, so.
Yes. But there's something missing again. We should be expecting 2 or 3 more rains.
Today?
No, in the subsequent days.
Oh, okay.
So that at least we can see as far as the water lake.
Which is what you are seeing there?
This is just an arm of it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but the rest is further behind.
I see.
Yes. And you can see it on a very, very clear day. Also from here, looking eastward, you can see Mountain Agu from Togo.
Whoa!
Yes.
That far?
Yeah.
From here?
There is also a small cross on that mountain, erected also by the German missionaries.
So it will be clearer when we get up there, right?
Oh, I don't think so.
So we can only see
looking
from
at
here.
the weather, you may be able to see it actually at the rainy season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But as I said, if the weather gets clearer, should we have more rains, you could see it.
I see.
Yeah.
So we are almost at the peak, right?
Yes. Are you tired?
I think it's not as hard as I thought it was. I mean, from the
told
beginning, it's a bit tough, but
I told you it's easy.
once you're at the middle.
I'm glad you are not panting too fast. At least you are trying to expand your heart more.
You know?
Yeah. That is what we actually tell visitors. We encourage them to do more hikes.
Oh, okay.
So
more
that
hikes.
they more hikes,
Okay,
walking distances. We are there now.
Whoa.
Aren't you happy?
We are here.
Yep.
Woo.
As I said, we are lucky we can see a bit far.
Okay.
Yes, but it gets more clearer at the rainy season.
So this is the view from the top of Mount Gami. We'll give you a 360 so you see how it looks like. And then we'll get to talk about this in a bit. But let's talk about the communities we see down there. How many communities do we have around here?
Actually, this area of ours is called Avatime Traditional Area.
Okay.
And we are having 7 communities making all this area.
Under Amejofe?
No, under the Avatime tradition.
So Amejofe is part of?
Amejofe is part of the communities.
Okay.
A part of Avatime.
Okay.
Yes. So, if I want to count them, you can see Vane from here. That is the last community before you get here. We have Jogbefeme.
Okay.
As you can see there, we have Biakba. We have Fume, Jokbe ahead. We have Bajeme down in the valley here. And then Amejofe.
So Amejofe is the only one on the mountain?
On the mountain.
The rest of them are in the valley?
In the valleys. But if you look at them critically as well, you realize Biakba is a bit higher than Fume. Jogbefeme is also higher than Fume. And then it cuts across like that.
Okay.
If you look at it again, you realize Bajeme from this end is higher than Fume. So Fume and Jogbe
are the lowest.
The lowest.
All right.
Yes, as you can see around.
But this is a beautiful scene.
Of course, I told you.
Very beautiful, a lot of greens.
And what makes it also is that these communities are neighboring communities. And so we all speak the same dialect.
Which is?
Which is Sia.
Sia?
Yes, or Sideme.
Okay, it's part of the Guan
dialects.
Okay,
yes.
Right.
We speak Ewe all right, but among ourselves, we speak this particular dialect.
Okay.
We speak Ewe only if we meet an Ewe speaking person.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We speak it very well.
Okay.
And these communities also celebrate a festival, which is rice festival. But in the dialect, we call rice amu.
Amu.
Yes, which is brown rice.
It's similar to chi, like emo.
Yes.
So amu.
See, yes.
Right.
At the time of the migrations of our people, they come across so many different languages. And so that is why the interaction of these different kind of words. There is Twi in it, there is Ewe, there is also Gan.
All in one?
Yes, in this dialect of ours.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yes. If you can speak those languages,
it's
then you can detect.
Yeah.
It is not really easy.
But you can tell.
Except you want to stay in the community for some time, then you can learn it.
I see.
Yes.
Okay. But it's relatively easy to tell that this person is saying this if you understand any of the 3 languages.
You can only detect by the actions of the person. Yes.
Okay.
And a typical FA person cannot understand if I speak.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
okay,
except
right.
I interpret to that person. Yeah.
One other thing is that there's a lot of fog on top of the mountain. So you see beyond you, but you don't see too much.
Yes.
Because it's like a mist covering the rest of. Is that how it always is?
It's not been like this always. I would say it is because of the dry season in which we are now. Yes, otherwise you could have seen as far as the Volta Lake. You could see Pando, Germany, Tokon, others, all along
really?
the Volta Lake. Yes.
From here?
From here.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And because of this dry season, as I said, that is why the mist.
It's all over?
It's all over.
Okay.
But at the rainy season, it's when you can see that much.
Right.
Also, from this end, you can see Mountain Agu from Togo.
On this side?
Yes.
Okay.
Further ahead, you can see
Mountain Agu
in Togo from here.
Mountain Agu in Togo.
Yes.
You can see Togo from Ghana.
Of course.
Wow.
That is on a very clear weather.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
It is
That's
easy to
nice.
be seen from here. Very easy.
That's nice. Okay, so now let's talk about the cross.
It's a nice cross, isn't it?
It is, but you can see it's been here for a while.
Of course.
Do we know
yes.
how long?
Since 1939.
Okay, that's very long. 39.
Yeah.
Before some of us
we celebrated the 100 years, I think 4 years ago.
Wow.
Yes. Actually, it was erected by the German missionaries.
Okay.
To commemorate their first jubilee they had after the establishment of the EP Church.
When they came here?
When they came here. That is, if you look up at the peak, you can see the church house. And also a yellow painted tall building where they started their seminary.
Okay.
But now the administration for the teacher training college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the steps to the entrance are about 60.
Of the church,
Of the
right?
church.
Yes, we are going to be going there. Then we'll learn more about
I
that.
guess you have more energy.
Of course, of course.
And
We promised the audience, so
sure.
we must get that to them.
Also, attached to the cross was an antenna, which has been taken off. It was then used as radio communication from home.
Oh, from home?
Yes, they communicate back from
Germany.
Oh,
okay.
Yes, but it's been taken out because it was blocking the waves of TV and radio stations.
I see.
Yes.
Okay. But is there any belief that if you touch the cross, there's any blessing or anything like that?
Well, that has to do with your faith.
Personal. Okay.
Yes. People come here to pray almost every day. Yes.
Wow.
And I would say it has to do with your
Personal
faith. Yes. If you have the faith that if you climb here and pray
at the foot of the cross,
yes, there will be a change in your life. It has to do with you.
Okay. But there are people who do that. There are people who come here to
People
pray.
come here. You can hardly come here and don't see anyone.
Okay.
Yes.
Individuals and groups.
Individuals and groups.
Wow.
Yes.
All right.
You can meet them here early mornings and later in the evenings.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Sometimes because of the sunshine, they don't stay here for long, but they descend further to the valley where there are shade of trees, so they can sit the whole day.
One other interesting thing about this mountain is that the residents of this area, together with people who have moved out of Amejofe to go do their own things in other regions, they all come back on Easter Monday every year and they climb up the mountain. It's an annual ritual where they meet, sing, preach and pray on top of the mountain. After that, they all descend together. They meet at the market square and then the Easter activities continue. So how tall is this mountain?
Well, the mountain is about 2,700 feet above sea level.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's the second highest
The second
in Ghana.
highest in Ghana.
Wow.
So it's about 755.5 meters high. Yeah. But the community, which is the highest habitation, is about 2,400 feet above sea level.
That's the highest human settlement. Which town is that?
This is Amejofe. I'm talking about Amejofe
Okay.
community.
So that's the one we see in view ahead of us, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So
you can
here
touch
we
the
are
cross.
at the cross, not of Calvary.
How did you feel?
Normal, I guess. I think I'm not applying faith now, so yeah,
Okay.
but we've learned all about the cross and we are at the peak of the second highest mountain in Ghana.
Yes.
Mountain Gami.
Gami.
Is there a meaning to the name? What does Gami mean?
Gami actually has to do with certain grass our people came to meet at the base of the mountain.
Okay.
Yes, and decided to name it after the mountain. And in the dialect, it was a Gemina.
Okay.
A Gemina. But at the arrival of the German missionaries, they couldn't pronounce the word Gemina, and therefore shortened it Gami.
To Gami. Oh, okay. So there you have it. The meaning of Gami.
Gami.
It's formed from the name of a grass.
Yes, elephant grass.
Oh, right.
Yes, and it is called a Gemina. A Gemina.
Okay, so we are all done here. It took us approximately 20 minutes, but it depends on your pace. If you are fast, maybe you exercise already, it will be easier for you to come up. But if you are like me, it may take you some time. You may have to take pauses in between. But the most important thing is that you have your sneakers and you have your water, so you can sip in between when you are tired. So we'll be descending now, and then we'll end our tour of Mount Gami. But we did this with Daniel. So let's get down there.
You've not drunk the water.
And then we'll wrap up. Not yet.
You
When we are going out, do that.
Sip a bit.
Sure. So let's get going. So we were all done on top of the mountain, but of course, we couldn't leave without taking photos, selfies, and, you know, posing here and there after all the walk up this mountain. So we took a little while to do that. Descending was much easier for us than when we were climbing. So you can see we were moving at a faster pace than when we were climbing. And just when I thought I was almost there, I missed a step.
Yes, it's a different one.
And I was so unlucky, the cameras captured this. She didn't get me for this, she only got me standing now. What a mistake. We are wrapping up. We are down the mountain. We went up to Mount Gami, which I said is the second highest mountain. The second highest mountain in Ghana. The first highest, of course, we know is Mount Afajatu, or Afajatu, which is the same thing. So yeah, it was an experience. Fortunately for us, we took the gentle trail when we were descending. But when you're going up, you usually will use the steeper trail, right?
Yes.
Just to have an experience, because that is more difficult to climb. But the gentle trail is easier when you're coming down. So that's the path we used. So we did this together with Daniel, who took us through all the way to the top and back down here. So thank you for joining us in this adventure. I'm sure you enjoyed yourself. We'll see you in our next one. Don't miss out. My name is Wanda Amihegan, and this is People and Places.
Now, oh, me.
Obek Hanukre. Susu sang kwai bia wan to na bia e man in kwai bebre.
Mommy, you fish can see about Kotoso. Pepoga, send me sika from Lemonade Finance. While Brian did the shit and let me £2.
Lemonade Finance.
Say they're sending money back home from UK, Canada, and now US. I accepted a instant charges. Exchange waiting in so unbeatable. We should me promo code Dr. Like Nenya £10, $10 and $10 for the first transaction. What is send this guy coffee? Download to Lemonade Finance.
It is expected that the CI will be laid. It is expected. The Electoral Commission may lay its CI. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the Constitution, the Article 11C is clear. Article 11C is clear on the mandate of Parliament when it comes to executive instruments, legislative instruments, and constitutional instruments. So, whereas Parliament has a mandate to scrutinize, Parliament cannot also obstruct a constitutional body from undertaking its work, merely because it has some disagreement. Parliament has a mandate through its subsidiary committee on legislation to
now me.
Obek Hanukre. Susu sang kwai bia wan to na bia e man in kwai bebre.
Mommy, you fish can see about Kotoso. Pepoga, send me sika from Lemonade Finance. While Brian did the shit and let me £2.
Lemonade Finance.
Say they're sending money back home from UK, Canada, and now US. I accepted a instant charges. Exchange waiting in so unbeatable. We should me promo code Dr. Like Nenya £10, $10 and $10 for the first transaction. What is send this guy coffee? Download to Lemonade Finance.
no community in the Keta municipality is included in the Ghana Rural Telephony and Digital Inclusion Project. Thank you.
Honorable Member, any supplementary question?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to find out from the Minister the reasons why no communities from Keta municipality is included in the rural telephony.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, this House approved a list of 2016 communities, which was brought before it based on the needs that were accumulated from the various communities. As at the time, Keta municipality was not included in that list. That may have accounted for the fact of their non-inclusion. But as I indicated in the earlier answers given, we know that there are a lot more communities that also require connectivity. And finances permitting, we would extend this program to cover all those communities, including those in the Keta municipality. I would, however, encourage members to let us know which of their communities lack connectivity at the moment, so that they can be captured in subsequent phases of the program. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Member, any further supplementary?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I would like to find out from the Minister which criteria were used to select the communities and how are they selected?
Yes, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Several members of Parliament wrote to GIFEC to indicate that they needed connectivity in their areas. GIFEC conducts drive tests in those communities and others that come to their notice. And so the results of the drive test indicate what kind of technology will be suitable for providing connectivity to those communities. So that principally is the criteria used. And that's why I'm urging members to notify us of the areas in their communities that require connectivity. GIFEC also has a database of communities that need connectivity, but these also need updating regularly. So working with members and other interested communities around the country, they do update that database regularly. Whether they'll be able to do something about that information they have or not is dependent on funds to enable them expand their current projects. Thank you.
Honorable members, will allow the honorable member to ask his next question, which is question number 1, 2, 3, 4 on the order paper. Honorable member, you may do so now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for Communication and Digitalization the plans the ministry has towards erecting a mast to improve telecommunication challenges at Laushima, Agovinu, Vanyago, Shungbe, Mamime, Agoji, at Ogodo catchment areas in the Keta municipality.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, Laushime, Agovinu, Wenyago, Somugbe, Mami, Hagod, and Hatogodo catchment areas are not included in the Rural Telephony and Digital Inclusion Project. However, efforts will be made to conduct drive tests and acquire lands in these communities in order for them to benefit from subsequent phases of the project, finances permitting.
Yes, Honorable Member, any supplementary question?
No, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Honorable members, we move to question number 1325. The question stands in the name of Mr. Andrew Dare Chiwite, the honorable member for Solatuna Kalba. Honorable member, you may ask your question now.
I'm most grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Communications and Digitalization when the people of Sanyari, Biniyiri, and Kaiwe will have access to reliable telecommunication services. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 31 communities in the Sola Tuna Kaba constituency are included in the Rural Telephony and Digital Inclusion Project. 15 of these communities, namely Begu, Binyiri, Bope, Goyiri Lobby, Grunyiri, Honiyiri, Kolei Li, Nanori Mehiai, La Onyiri Nakpala, Pivro, La Juntanga, Poru, Tampo, Bondiel, and Bongbe are currently on air and are receiving telecommunication signals. Sites have also been acquired in Kwale and Sanyiri. However, GIFEC is yet to build any rural telephony site in Binyiri and Kawie and will consider them when they procure the necessary funds to extend the rural telephony project. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, that you have abandoned the rest of the answer. Well, on my honorable members, the minister just informed me that starting from Mr. Speaker is the answer for question 1427. It's not captured on the answer sheet that we have. So please kindly do so. Honorable member, you have any supplementary question?
Yes, right, Speaker. If you permit me to do a little correction on the minister's answer, I want to believe there were typo mistakes. That's why it's difficult to pronounce the names. Mr. Speaker, there's a community called Bulpie. It's Bulpie. It's supposed to be G-B-U-L-P-I-E, Bulpie. Bulpie. Then the Nanur is spelled as N-A-N-O-U-R-I. It's Nanur, N-A-N-U-U-R, Nanur. And then this other community, La Onyiri, that community is difficult for me to picture. I don't remember ever seeing a community like that in my constituency, La Onyiri. And so, Mr. Speaker, these corrections be done. My question then is, Honourable Minister, the Beneyiri area, for now they have services, but they have a little challenge. If you get to Beneyiri, we have some communities such as Kulwon, Pale, Cheten, Saru, those areas. As soon as you make a call, then we have interference from Agricos. And so it's very difficult to communicate sometimes. Then when you are there and you are making a call, the charges are different from the normal charges that we have because of that difficulty. You make a call and then you hear a voice in French. Are there any way your ministry can work out to do these corrections so that we don't have interferences from the Ivory Coast or Burkina side? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That's a different problem. It has nothing to do with the rural telephony project. In most of our border towns, you would get interference both ways. In the other countries, they may get interference from our networks. And in some of our border towns, you may get interference from networks in neighboring countries. The National Communications Authority works with its counterparts, the regulator in Ivory Coast, Togo and Burkina Faso, to resolve some of these challenges when they are brought to their attention. So I'll be grateful if you notify me formally of those areas which have that interference problem, and I'll bring it to their attention. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Member, any further supplementary?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. My next question, the Minister indicates, as for the last paragraph, that however, GIFEC is yet to build any rural telephony site in Beniri and Kawe, and will consider them when they procure the necessary funds to extend the GLT DIP. May I know whether the Minister can tell us in terms of timing, so that we are assured that by close of so date, the people of Kawe area can have good access to telecommunication. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I can't give any specific time when GIFEC will be able to get the necessary funds. I do know, however, that there is a World Bank project that is currently pending for approval before this House, a small component of which will be utilized by GIFEC for connectivity to unserved and underserved areas. I'll be grateful and will sincerely urge the House to approve this facility urgently for us, so that we'll be able to give GIFEC some of those funds to continue with the work that they're doing. At least that's the only fund that I know may be immediately available for them. I don't know whether that will be extended to your community, but at least they will be able to utilize that to reach certain communities. And with the help of the House, we can be able to finance some of their programs to meet some of our needs. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member, you want another bite?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
You actually have exhausted your supplementary questions, but I can. The last one.
I'm most grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, then let me use this opportunity to plead with the Minister so that my area should be considered. The communities such as Kawe and Beniri are unrobbery prone areas. Beniri has a very big market. It's an international market. And so the unrobbers take advantage of the non-availability of telecommunications, then they harass the people there. So please do consider my district when that opportunity comes. Mr. Speaker, my last question is whether the Minister is able to tell us the number of people that are connected to the various networks in the solar tunnel culvert, because the part of the answer you indicated that it's not part of my answer, but I've seen that you listed the number of people that are using the SIM cards. Are we able to segregate that district by district? Thank you.
Well, Minister, if you have the answer, if not, quite this. Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, I believe I can get the answer for the member, but you'll have to give me some time. So I'd be grateful if you would ask a substantive question to enable us get the requisite information for him. Thank you.
Yes, honourable members, we'll move to the next question. question number 1427 stands in the name of Mr. Vincent Eko Asafua, the Honourable Member for Old Tafo. Honourable Member, you may ask your question now. Honourable members, in the absence of the Honourable Member to ask the question, we'll move on to question number 1429, stands in the name of Ms. Abla Jifa Gomashi, the Honourable Member for K2 South. Honourable Member, you may ask your question now.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Communication and Digitalization steps the ministry is taking to improve the challenges with the networks for communication in the K2 South constituency. Thank you.
Yes, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, MTN Ghana informs me that they have connectivity in Kliko, Agbozume, and the Diamond Cement area of the K2 South constituency. Airtel Tigo has 6 operational sites in K2 South, 3 of which are located in Aflao, with the remaining 3 at Agbozume, where my relatives come from, Avueme and Denu. Mr. Speaker, all the 6 sites are receiving both 2G and 3G coverage from that network. Finances permitting, will consider other communities in the K2 South constituency in upcoming phases of the Rural Telephony and Digital Inclusion Project to help improve the network challenges there. Thank you.
Honourable Member, any supplementary?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I'd like to ask the Honourable Minister whether she knows the size of the population. Let me put it in context for you, Honourable Minister. Aflao alone is as big as a constituency on its own. It had about 83 branches, now increased to 100 and over. So one mast is not enough to serve the people. And you have indicated in your response that it's a 2G and 3G strength. In other communities, it's 4G. Is there anything you can do, the Communication Ministry and your agencies, to improve on that connectivity so we don't have problems with data and ability to make calls? Thank you.
Yes, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The network operators are obliged by their license obligations to extend connectivity to district capitals, and so all of them have done that. But going beyond the district capitals, it is the commercial return on investment which largely influences their rollout obligations. We'll continue to work with them, knowing how critical connectivity is for the growth of our digital economy, to ensure that they improve the network challenges there. I do know that Aflao is a very big border community, and the economic activity there is vibrant. And so we'll work with the network operators and GhanaWeb to see what they can do to extend connectivity there. But as I indicated in earlier responses, if GhanaWeb gets additional funding to expand its operations, it will be difficult. We'll, however, urge the network operators to see how they can also include that in their rollout plans for the coming months and years. Thank you.
Any more supplementary?
Mr. Speaker, no more questions except to urge the Honourable Minister to perhaps use the telcos more than relying on GhanaWeb, because GhanaWeb has not lived up to expectations in my community. They have a computer center that I've been trying to revive. They are not supporting. So perhaps if you push the telcos more, they may be able to do something for us. But I thank you for the answers. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member, I'm sure you have full access to the Minister. You can have that conversation with the Minister outside plenary session. I encourage you to do so. With this, we'll move on to question number 1430. Stands in the name of Mr. Joseph Kwasi Mensah, the Honourable Member for Nkranza North. Honourable Member, you may ask your question now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have the permission of Honourable Joseph Mensah to ask the question. He is currently stuck in traffic on his way to Parliament, and he has asked me with your leave if I could ask the question on his behalf.
Actually, I haven't heard the word.
I'm saying that Honourable Joseph Mensah is on his way to Parliament but stuck in traffic, and so he has called me to ask the question on his behalf with your leave, if you permit me.
Yes, you can do so.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for Communication and Digitalization the steps being taken in Nkranza North constituency to improve mobile telephony reception in the following communities: Asioti, Binoho, Nipa Hiamwa, Ginkra, Pienina, Timuabu, Junction, Srukmangwase, Konkrompe, Proso, Amanda, Kranka, and Boama. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Esuoti, Junoho, Nipa Yamwa, Dinkra, Kunso, Pienina, Timiabu, Junction, Mangwase, Konkompe, Pruso, Amanda, Kranka, and Buama in Nkranza North constituency have not yet been captured under the Rural Telephony Project. However, drive tests will be conducted for possible inclusion in subsequent phases of the project if the needed funds are secured. GIFEC has already built 5 sites in the following communities in the Nkranza North constituency, namely Edumasa, Betoda, Boabing, Bodom, and Senya. In Boabing, I personally commissioned that site together with the Honourable Member of Parliament from Nkranza North. And these sites are all currently on air. Airtel Tigo also has 4 operational sites in Nkranza North. Dromakese and Yefri sites have 2G coverage, whereas Busunya and Maso have 2G and 3G coverage, respectively. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Member, you have authority to ask supplementary questions too.
Yes, please, Mr. Speaker.
Please go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, the other 4 communities, which is Romankase, Yefri, and Busunya, the MP is aware they have 2G coverage there. But the communities in question is what he has asked. But it is indicated by the Minister that the drive tests will be conducted in those communities. We want to know from the Minister when that will be done for the next phase of connectivity.
Yes, Minister.
Mr. Speaker, as I indicated in the answer, when they secure the needed funds, they will continue with the work that they're doing. And I'm not in a position to indicate when that eventuality will occur. So we'll continue to implore this Honourable August House to assist GIFEC to secure the needed funds for expansion of this project. And if we approve the digital inclusion project that is currently before us, they will get some funds to continue with their work under this World Bank project. Thank you.
Yes, your last supplementary.
Oh, thank you. I don't have any further supplementary questions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, we now take the last question on the order paper. Question number 1431 stands in the name of the... Sorry, it's not the same gentleman. It's from Mr. Joseph Kwame Kuma, the honourable member for Kintampo North. Kintampo North. Please, you may ask your question now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the Minister for Communication and Digitalization when the following communities in the Kintampo North constituency will be connected to telephonic communication network. Mansra in the more traditional area, Gweneho in the Kunsu area, and Kawampe in the Blackwater Road, same Kintampo municipality.
Honourable member, we don't have Kawante in the question. You just added it. What we have here is Kawam.
Mr. Speaker, well, I'm just describing the locations of the area. So if you want me to be direct to the question, with your permission, I want to ask the Minister for Communication and Digitalization when the following communities in the Kintampo North constituency will be connected to telephonic communication network. Mansra, Gweneho, Kawampe. The Kawam is what is captured. The P is the spelling mistake. So that is why I'm calling it Kawampe. Thank you.
Well, we'll allow the minister to attempt. Either she got it right or she got Kawam or Kawambe. I don't know. So, Minister, please.
Mr. Speaker, my information is that GIFEC has rural telephony sites in Gweneho, Kawampe, Kunso, Manchala, and Nyame, which are currently on air. However, in Kawam, communities have not been included in the rural telephony project. Judging by the answer, I'm not sure, by the question, I'm not sure if Kawampe and Kawam are the same communities that the honourable member is referring to. But they tell me that Kawam is not included in the rural telephony project. Airtel Tigo has 6 operational sites in the Kintampo North constituency, and they are Babato Krom, Bulumpe, Kintampo, and Kintampo Swaba, which have 2G and 3G network services, while the remaining 2, Chiranda and Dawada, are being provided with 2G network services. Mr. Speaker, the National Communications Authority will continue to collaborate with the mobile network operators and GIFEC to extend network coverage to the towns that have not yet been catered for. It is, however, capital intensive, and we will reiterate our need for the support of this august House in securing the needed funds to provide universal connectivity and narrow the digital divide. Mr. Speaker, it is also worth mentioning that out of the 2016 planned project sites of the rural telephony project, GIFEC has constructed 1,005 sites in various communities across the country. The Ministry will work towards the completion of the remaining 1,011 sites to ensure network coverage for the target 4 million population living in these unserved and underserved communities. Thank you.
Honourable Member, any supplementary question?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, from the Minister's answer, there's no Kawam in Kintampo North Municipality. It says, I'm sure it's a typographical error. It's Kawampe. So in her answer, she has gotten it right. It's Kawampe, no typographical error from whatever it is. But let me indicate, much as the answer is given about Beneho and all those about Etetigo, I want to plead with you that the Kintampo North Municipality area is more accident-prone and robbery cases, such that because of these two combined effects there, I want to urge you to urgently see how you can rectify the rural telephony system along the route at the municipality to take care of emergency situations of this sort, so that the police and the security people can be of support all the time. Thank you.
Well, this is not a supplementary question. I'm sure you will continue your conversation outside the plenary session. Honorable members, we come to the end of question time. And on your behalf, I want to thank the Minister very much for attending upon the House to respond to the questions. Minister, we are grateful. We now move on to item 6 on the order paper, which is statements. But before we take the statements, it's important I revise an earlier announcement I read to the House. Honorable members will recall that on Wednesday, 8th of February 2023, I announced that the launch of the 30th anniversary celebration of parliamentary democracy under the Fourth Republic will take place on Thursday, 16 February 2023 at the Justice D.F. Annan Auditorium, Job 600. The committee planning the anniversary celebrations has advised me that the launch of the anniversary celebration be relocated from the Justice D.F. Annan Auditorium to this chamber. I was informed that the auditorium sits just about 280 persons. By necessary implication, then launching the program in the auditorium would simply mean the exclusion of key stakeholders, key partners to Parliament, such as representatives of political parties, civil society and private sector groups, both present and past state functionaries, including those from Parliament and the Executive, the Bar Association, academia, security services, and student groups. Honorable members, given the monumental nature of this event, it would be inappropriate to exclude our distinguished partners, who, in my estimation, well over 300 from the launch. The Planning Committee, upon further reflection, suggests we launch the celebration in the chamber with the benefit of both the public and press galleries to seat most of our invited guests. I would not have agreed more with the committee on this recommendation. So, honorable members, you are accordingly informed that the launch of the 30th anniversary celebrations of parliamentary democracy under the Fourth Republic will take place on Wednesday, 22nd February 2023 at 9 a.m. in this chamber. Wednesday, 22nd February 2023 at 9 a.m. in this chamber. 9 a.m. Accepted. 9 a.m. Accepted. Accepted. I thank you. We can now move to the questions, and the first Deputy Speaker will take over the chair. In the meantime, I invite the Deputy Majority Leader, who I'm told will be presenting to the House a very important statement on health. I thought, Deputy Majority Leader, you would take the advantage to come to the He's my son, so he's from both Simpa and where you come from. Where your parents come from? Yes. Oh, not your parents.
My parents come from various parts in the country.
Agbozu.
Part of my family comes from Agbozomi, Achimda, Brekum, Asante Achim Video.
How many parents do you have?
Even Yendi. My parents come from, I didn't say I have parents from those places, but that's where they come from. So I am a quintessential Ghanaian.
I knew you before you were born, so yes, honorable member, you may go on.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I make this statement in accordance with Order 72 of the Rules of the House, which state that by the indulgence of the House and leave of Mr. Speaker, a member at any time appointed for statement under Order 53 may explain a matter of personal nature or make a statement on a matter of urgent public importance. Any statement other than a personal statement may be commented upon by duration of time not exceeding an hour. The terms of any such proposed statement shall first be submitted, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, according to the World Health Organization, hepatitis B is a viral infection that affects the liver and can cause both acute and chronic disease. The virus is most commonly transmitted from mother to child during birth and delivery, as well as through contact with blood or other body fluids during sex with an infected partner, unsafe injections, or exposures to sharp instruments. The WHO estimated that 296 million people worldwide were living with chronic hepatitis B in 2019, with 1.5 million infections each year. However, it can be prevented by vaccines that are safe, available, and effective. Mr. Speaker, most people with hepatitis B infections don't have symptoms, but experience acute symptoms lasting several weeks, including jaundice, fatigue, and abdominal pains. Acute hepatitis B can lead to acute liver failure and death. Long-term complications include advanced liver disease, such as cirrhosis and hepatocellular carcinoma, which can cause high morbidity and mortality. In 2016, at the 69th World Health Assembly and governments across the globe, including Ghana, commitment was made to eliminate hepatitis B by 2030, as set out in the WHO Global Health Sector Strategy on viral hepatitis B. With less than 10 years to go, Ghana is lagging in the elimination of hepatitis B. In Ghana, it is estimated that between 3 to 4.6 million people are chronically suffering from hepatitis B, despite availability of all tools to reach elimination. Mr. Speaker, A survey I sponsored in 2019 in my constituency indicated that 8.5% prevalence rate of hepatitis B in the municipality, a disheartening situation for my people in Hughton. As of 2019, only 30.4 million people globally, representing 10.5% of all people estimated to be living with hepatitis B, were aware of their infection due to the silent nature of the disease, while 6.6 million, representing 22% of people diagnosed, were on treatment. Mr. Speaker, despite a high infection rate, viral hepatitis B can be eradicated with the right instrument. This includes the introduction of affordable and easily accessible hepatitis B immunoglobulin, monovalent vaccine, and antivirals for the prevention of mother-to-child transmission of hepatitis B. Estimates from 2020 Ghana Health Service press release on World Hepatitis B Day show that an average of 120,000 newborns will be hepatitis B virus by their mothers during delivery, and up to 90% of these newborns may end up being infected. Mr. Speaker, these newborns can affect the disease by receiving treatment with hepatitis B, HBIG, and vaccination, which is yet to be health service. The cost of the HBIG is quite expensive, averaging 1,000 Ghana cedis for the underprivileged women in rural areas, hence the increase of the disease to their newborns at birth. According to the WHO, the introduction of hepatitis B birth dose vaccination is key to the prevention of the childhood infections. Mr. Speaker, currently, most people, especially pregnant women in rural areas, lack access to routine testing during pregnancy. Most pregnant women and individuals testing positive evaluation for treatment to suppress the virus. Very few, if any, are able to access or afford such services due to its high cost and treatment, since it is not available on our NHIS. In the Hughton municipality, there is no access to hepatitis B viral load testing, which is a key diagnostic factor in management of the disease. Mr. Speaker, it is only the teaching hospitals that are well equipped to manage hepatitis B. Hence, affected people outside of these areas who are referred and are mostly poor decline and seek alternative treatment, leading to complications and death. As of liver cancer worldwide, viral hepatitis B elimination could greatly reduce the rate of liver cancer death, if only we can find it and treat millions of people who are unaware they are living with the condition. Mr. Speaker, I conclude by saying that with the World Hepatitis B Day approaching somewhere in July, government should make testing, vaccination, and treatment accessible to the communities to save lives. This can be done through the centralization of the services, which will make implementation of the community-based hepatitis B effective. It is vital that the testing, diagnosis, vaccination, and treatment of hepatitis B should be enrolled onto the National Health Insurance Scheme. Mr. Speaker, I repeat, it is important for government to enroll hepatitis B on the National Health Insurance Scheme, just as it is done for those living with TB and HIV. So, Speaker, HIV patients get an antiretroviral drugs free of charge. Unfortunately, hepatitis B patients who also rely on this same medication have to buy. If we do this, it will reduce the morbidity and mortality in our country to the barest minimum, with a strong focus on the vulnerable groups within our rural areas. Mr. Speaker, I hereby also make a call on us as MPs, the corporate institutions, our chiefs, our opinion leaders, our religious leaders, and other stakeholders to actively engage in public education to create more awareness, which awareness will lead to voluntary testing, with those who test negative quickly taking the vaccine, which is very, very cheap and will not cost more than 100 Ghana cedis. Once they are able to vaccinate, which is 3 shots, they are safe from getting the infection. Mr. Speaker, again, I will urge government to intensify public education through radio, TV, and print media about the causes of hepatitis B, mode of transmission, to create more awareness. And finally, Mr. Speaker, government must intensify education on the hepatitis B virus so that those who often rely on traditional herbal treatment will desist from that, since this leads to escalation and often creates a situation where the liver gets damaged and they die quicker than expected. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, Honourable Member for Korle Klote.
Thank you, Right Honourable.
Mr. Speaker, with respect, I omitted an important matter. Mr. Speaker, the source document upon which the statement was anchored, I would want to table them for the records so that members would have the opportunity to read and make an input in their constituencies, since I've made a call on members to engage in public education. Yes, Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity.
Very well. The table office will take note. Yes, Honourable Member for Klote Korle.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement made by the Deputy Majority Leader on hepatitis B in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, the epidemiological data shared with us by the Deputy Speaker, I beg your pardon, by the Deputy Leader, is actually quite frightening. In a country of 30 million people, to have 3 to 4.6 million people who are hepatitis B positive is scary. If you break it down into a room of 30 people, that means 3 people in that room, based on the figures, are Hep B positive, and that's frightening. It changes the conversation with regards to even issues as almost distant as safe sex and the use of barrier contraception, which is not only to prevent pregnancy and HIV, but Hep B as well. Mr. Speaker, really important points raised by the maker of the statement, in that the fact that we have such a high number of persons who are Hep B positive in Ghana is a fact that we are not having enough awareness creation. And at a time like this, a collaboration between the National Commission on Civic Education and the Ghana Health Service, and perhaps the Ghana Education Service, would be of benefit, because we have a youthful population and a lot of the Hep B positive persons fall within the youth. And incidentally, HIV is also on the increase, and so you're having some of the cases where a lot of people who are Hep B positive are also HIV positive. Mr. Speaker, affordable treatment is key. Cuba, for example, uses the interferon alpha as a means of treatment for the Hep B virus. This is very effective, but it's also extremely expensive, and therefore the affordability of treatment is important, given the fact that we don't want to have a situation where access to good health care or to proper treatment and management of the disease are limited only to people within a particular socioeconomic bracket. Mr. Speaker, another incidental finding so far has been that a lot of persons who have been found to be Hep B positive are from the northern part of Ghana, and a lot of research must be done to find out the reasons why, in order to be able to target screening and treatment of Hep B in those who have been found positive in various populations. And then finally, Mr. Speaker, with regards to policy on what we are doing about hepatitis B in Ghana. First of all, we must look at a free national health screening program which targets populations that are found to be high risk, but make it available and free and easily accessible to all persons. And based on the data found regarding the screening and the distribution of the disease, then we can also have a local program targeting the high-risk groups in order to ensure that people can actually be protected in anticipation of the kind of infections and the rates at which people are getting infected. So based on the data, we can then come up with a determination on whether vaccinations should be targeted at people in secondary school or after they finish secondary school, or whether we are looking at specific age groups that will be targeted with regards to vaccinations. And then, of course, finally, Mr. Speaker, for the Hep B treatment, the immunoglobulin to be put on the NHIS card to make sure that persons who are affected can avail of the treatment. This is so important, Mr. Speaker. The statistics are staggering, are frightening, and this is a matter that must be taken with absolute emergency and urgency for a country that is seeking to provide good health care and access to all its citizens. Mr. Speaker, I would like to reiterate and add my voice to the appeal by the Deputy Majority Speaker that the immunoglobulin used in the treatment for hepatitis B be put on the NHIS card, and a free and accessible vaccination program be put in place in order to protect those in the population who are Hep B negative at the moment. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to contribute to the statement ably made by the Deputy Majority Leader on this very important topic on hepatitis B. Mr. Speaker, hepatitis B is a vaccine preventable virus infection of the liver, and it is one of those infections that is of serious public health concern worldwide, because it is a disease that leads to mortality and serious morbidity with complications. Mr. Speaker, about 90% of infants, if infected with hepatitis B, will lead to chronic infection that can lead to liver cancer, cirrhosis, and finally death. However, for the adults, about 2 to 6% of adults who get infected will lead to chronic infection. Mr. Speaker, because it is a disease of public health importance, I know the Ministry of Health has taken it as one of the conditions or the diseases that they have to work on, and therefore hepatitis B vaccination is part of our EPI, expanded program on immunization. The Ministry of Health runs. So all our children born today receive hepatitis B vaccination as part of the immunization program. So any individual, I would say, less than 20 years old might have gone through hepatitis B vaccination as part of this EPI program. And therefore, what we need to advocate and to work on is to strengthen our EPI in the country, ensure that it is well funded, ensure that the vaccines are available, the logistics are there, so that all children born are given, hepatitis B. If that is done, as a country, will go a long way to preventing so many children, so many people from getting hepatitis B infection. The challenge is those of us adults, who probably from 2030 going, who didn't have the opportunity to be vaccinated when we were born as children. We will have to take precautions to prevent getting infected. And just like we give education for HIV, it is similar education we have to give to prevent hepatitis B, because the mode of transmission is just like HIV virus. So having protected sex is very important, ensuring that we have safe blood transfusion and ensuring that we don't share shafts like needles or blades are all things that we can do to protect it, with hepatitis B. And as the saying goes, it's always cheaper for prevention than treatment. Preventing getting infected with hepatitis B is cheaper than when you get infected and you have to buy, medications to treat yourself. And I want to stress that there are some health professionals or health people who take advantage and prescribe all sorts of new drugs that have not been fully recommended by the WHO, and because of fear of chronic infections from hepatitis B, there are individuals who sometimes have to pay a lot to access certain unproven medications. So let's continue to educate the public to ensure that our children are vaccinated. Those of us who are adults take the precautionary measures very importantly, so that as a country we will reduce the burden of hepatitis B infection. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity, and I commend the maker of the statement for this important statement. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this statement made by my senior colleague. I'm most grateful for the opportunity. Looking at the statistics that he presented, it clearly shows us that hepatitis B is becoming more dangerous in our system than even the almighty HIV that we have. What makes it even more dangerous is the fact that a person can become a carrier even after treatment, and that we need to look at the precautionary measures to be able to fight this new kind of virus that want to trouble our society. I would suggest that every pregnant woman that visits the health center should be screened for us to be able to curtail the fact that a mother can be transmit the disease to the child, like we did in all HIV cases in our hospitals. Then two, our young people in the senior high schools and the junior high schools, I will call on government to put a measure in place that we can screen all of them as they go to the secondary school or the senior high schools. Because as we all know, they are our future leaders, and they are the people who are coming to replace us as we grow older. Another point that I want us to look at in the area of prevention is the screening of each and every person that is in this country. If it is possible that you can just walk into any health care center to ask for screening of your hepatitis B status, so that you know your status and you'll be able to prevent yourself from being reinfected, or if it is possible that when you screen, you take care of yourself, that you will not even infect other people in society. The maker of the statement called on government to make sure that they add it to the Ghana Health Services and our health insurance card. I think that call should be looked at very carefully, so that we continue to stop people from reinfecting other people or reinfecting themselves. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to contribute to the statement. Thank you very much.
Honourable members, there's a statement on. Yes, Honourable Minister, you want to speak on that?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I first want to thank the maker of the statement and my colleagues who have actually contributed to the statement. Through this way, the hepatitis B syndrome is coming to be known in our country. I mean, the statement is creating awareness of the type of situation that we have in the system. Mr. Speaker, I don't intend to refute any portion of the statement and what the contributions my colleagues have made, but I just to add a few more. Mr. Speaker, we have actually included hepatitis B vaccination in our normal routine immunization program. But unfortunately, we are now planning to scale up to actually include the at-birth dose as a way of preventing hepatitis B. Mr. Speaker, it is true we don't have it on health insurance benefits package, both testing and vaccination, because of the cost implications and some other reasons. But the disease is coming up so much more that we need to do a lot to do what it is that we should do. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, our research indicates that hepatitis B is more prevalent in the northern zone of our country than the southern zone. And the Kumasi KCCR is actually some good research to try to find the causative factors that is making the situation that much, so that we can begin to find ways of trying to get them out. Mr. Speaker, despite the fact that government is not paying for testing, we have made it mandatory for students going to school, food vendors, people who are engaging with the public that we can identify to actually get vaccinated, tested before they get to college. We are keeping data of those who test positive for hepatitis B, Mr. Speaker, so that we can track their progress and see how best we can support them to manage the disease that they have got. From scientific research, we are being told that hepatitis B has no known cure, and therefore, if you contract it, you have a challenge. So we have to manage you like we're managing other chronic diseases that have no cure. The only prevention measure is the vaccination, and therefore we need to scale up testing. We now started a program that mandates even pregnant women to test, for screening to test, such that children that they are going to come out with wouldn't get infected. So the ministry is actually scaling up our activities in trying to prevent hepatitis B in Ghanaian society. And I believe that my colleagues will continue to support us if we should come looking for resources to help us do what we need to do on hepatitis B. But the creation of awareness is very, very necessary.